Okay, here a video on one of the posts what was posted, and she was having problems with the file. And so I had a look at the file and went and checked it out, and then there were quite a few issues. So I'll run through a few. What I'll do here is deselect, select. Okay, as you can see, all the objects, they are in a group, and then they are in a layer, and then so if I checked this object, you can see there is a fill and a stroke. So, and we don't want that. So what we'll go and do is right click on it, duplicate, and then we go and set a fill to none, and then I want to select the other one and set there the stroke to none. Then I select next object. Also there's a fill and a stroke. Make a duplicate, set a fill to none, and then I can select that one, and then I'll set the stroke to none. Same with there. Duplicate, fill to none, and then select the next object, and then set the stroke to none. This object also duplicate and set fill to none. Then select the next object, set stroke to none. That one, duplicate, set fill to none, set stroke to none. This object, right click, duplicate, fill to none, stroke none, and then this object, duplicate and set fill to none, and then the next one, that one to none. Okay, so now we go and select everything. Then I went extension, Inkstitch, troubleshoot objects. All selected shapes are valid. Okay. Then we go extension, Inkstitch, params. And as you can see, there is the first problem already. There are colors in the objects, yet in the simulator it shows here everything in black. So why was that? Close this one. So then what I did is checked. So that's one should have a fill, extension, params. Let's try that and see what that does. Oh, still in black. Then what I did is I went and just selected a different color, and then extension Inkstitch params. Oh, sorry, I cannot get it popping up in the right screen all the time. Now I have the right color. So then what I did is selected all the other items, changed the fill color, edit, undo. I gotta have the fill area, so I'll change there the color, change the fill color there. And why some of these things are happening, I am not really aware of, but they are happening. So and there, change the color. So now I have all the colors changed. Now let's go and have a look now. Extension, Inkstitch, params. Oh, so as you can see, the outline, it's doing it. So close this. I'll go and select everything again. Extension, Inkstitch, params. As you can see, now I have the black lettering here, and I have an orange line going around it, but I do not have the black outline on the orange. So why is that? I don't know exactly. I also went, and since she wanted to convert lines to a satin, so I selected a object and then went extension Inkstitch, satin tools, convert line to satin, and then I was getting this error message. Inkstitch doesn't know how to work with any of the objects selected. And then it said path, object to path. So then I went and right away selected everything and went object or path, object to path, and I did it right away for a couple of times, just making sure. Object to path, and then selected item again and did extension Inkstitch troubleshoot object is valid, extension Inkstitch satin tools, convert line to satin, and I'm getting the same error message, and that kept on happening. So, and I didn't know exactly what was going on, and I still don't know exactly the reason why. But then what I did is I selected all the objects. Then I went Edit, Cut, and then went to the top layer, Edit, and Paste in place. And now Extension, Inkstitch, Troubleshoot objects, everything valid. Extension, Inkstitch, params. Takes a few moments too. And now you can see all of a sudden we have the outline around the black, and we have the outline around the orange. And now I'll deselect everything for a moment. Now I'm selecting this outline here for a moment. Oh, snapping is on. So then want to go and see if it will convert over to a satin. Inkstitch, satin tools, convert line to satin. And now I can zoom in, and as you can see, it converted it to a satin. I'll go Edit, Undo the move, because what we want also for the line width, so like now the stroke object is selected, and the stroke, as you can see here in the bottom left, that is 0.5, and for the satin we want to be kind of at 1.5, so you right click on the 0.5, and then you get this box showing up. Then you can select millimeters, inches, pixels, whatever you want over there, and then you can set here instantly your width, say to 1.5. And if I now, I'll drag it out of the way for a moment just for visibility. Inkstitch, satin tools, convert line to satin, and there you can see we have 1.5 mil satin line. So the main problem what I saw with this file is that the fill and the stroke was in one object, and that should have been separated, plus it was in a group and in the next layer down, and that didn't want to work whatsoever. So this file, it is still not really good for the embroidery, because there are objects, as you can see. I'll pull the fill out of the way for a moment. The fill is all the way continuous, and that one goes in behind this one, so you would get a double layer of fill stitches over here. And if I move it back, it would get in this spot, you would get double fill, and here you would get double fill. So like all the overlaps would have to be fixed up yet. So, and in order to do that, then you can go to the node select and zoom in, and you can add add a node over there, add a node over there, and you could add a node there, move that node over a little, and then you go select that node and shift select, and you can go and break the path at selected node. And then you can see you can break it apart that way. Now this one can be deleted, that one could be deleted, and then you wanna these two, you want to reconnect those, and you can do that over here also, and then you select with a new segment. So now you get a new segment in there. Do the same here, create with a new segment. So that is the way you would have to go through your whole file and work on taking away all your overlaps. Or you can go and select this one and or make a duplicate. Right click, duplicate, and then shift select, and then path difference. Let me go and take the select, and then you can see now it has taken out that overlap, but I'll move it a little further out of the way, then it becomes better visible. I'll move it here to the bottom for a moment. As you can see in the object panel, it is still as one object, but now here on the screen you can see this is one object, or should be one object, this should be one object, and that should be one object. If we go extension, Inkstitch, troubleshoot object, then we will be getting error messages, and it says unconnected. So now we'll go and I'll delete the troubleshoot for a moment. Delete. Now I will go and select that object again, then go and I need my fill and stroke. The fill and stroke, and I go and select this icon, then go extension, Inkstitch, fill tools, break apart fill objects, and then we get this pop up, and then we go apply, then we can close. So now I have the select tool. As you can see, now I have one object selected here, that is one object, and this is one object. Now I can select all three, extension, Inkstitch, troubleshoot objects, all selected shapes are valid. Okay, and then we can go extension, Inkstitch, params, and there you can see it is sewing all three objects. It still would need to be organized in the objects panel for the sewing order, but I'm not going to go through that. That can be done by the person whose file it is, but this is the way you would have to start going about it. Breaking apart your objects, and so that you don't get all the overlaps. And that is the same with the satin lines. You have to watch too, break those apart, and where you're gonna have the overlaps. Okay, I hope this can help somebody else in getting their embroidery files ready, and so have fun. Okay, thanks for watching, and happy digitizing.